So today I want to talk about why do people pay astronomical amounts of money for pieces of cardboard with a bit of artwork on it? Because effectively that's all these Pokemon cards are. And I myself have spent thousands of pounds on Pokemon cards, and I'm sure you watching this video have probably done so yourself. You've probably not spent hundreds of thousands or millions, like people like Logan Paul or whatever. But it's funny because when you tell people, you collect Pokemon cards that either have never collected them or they remember them from school but wasn't really that invested into them, they actually look at you like you're a loser. That has been my experience. Now, it might not have been yours, but most people I've said, I've just spent like 500-600 quid on these booster boxes. They're like, why? And even girls that I've dated in the past, I've been hesitant about telling them about my Pokemon collection. Even though now, I'm in the hobby to invest. I'm in it to try and make money, and I'll go into sort of how I got back into Pokemon and like how my sort of story is with it. But yeah, I mean, it's very hard to tell someone that does know nothing about it that you're not just some loser that likes to collect kids' toys or like kids' pieces of cardboard. And even when I have told people, like you can invest in a set and it can be life-changing money if you put enough into it. It's like the stock market, and that they still look at you like you're weird. And it's really just interesting to me. Now, I want to talk about my story of like how I got into Pokemon cards. Now, I was there in the golden era of when it first came out, base set into the school. A bit like when Elrond says in Lord of the Rings to Gandalf, like, I was there, Gandalf, 10,000 years ago, like I was. I remember it clear as day when all the kids were buying them. I had like my first Game Boy with the game. Like I had a real moment there, and I must have been like 9, 10 years old. Me and my best friends, like, our mum's bought us one, and we spent weeks and weeks and weeks just being on the phone playing the game, and then we bought the packs, and then we were watching the TV show. Like my whole life was Pokemon, and pretty much every lad in school was the same. And then the cards, you collected the cards because you liked the artwork. There was nothing to do with investing. No one was like, oh, I'm going to hold on to this and make millions of pounds when I'm older. No one was thinking like that. You was collecting it because you loved Pokemon and you was a kid. And that was the reason. I remember having stacks of cards, and I even liked the Machop artwork, holding the world, and that was one of the most easiest cards to pull. The theme decks with Machamp, the first edition, and I pulled a shiny Charizard. I bought a couple of packs. I think it's like £5 base set packs. I know, it's like 600 quid they're worth, just those 2 packs alone now. And I pulled a Charizard and I sold it on eBay for like a tenner. And I remember thinking back then, like, yeah, whoever just bought that's an idiot. And I would hold my cards together in like a rubber band, and I quickly realised that was stupid because the rubber band would just start like splitting them down the middle. But I loved having it in my pocket so I could flex the cards that I've got at any point. Then I started putting them in binders. And then it was round about Team Rocket. It was the last set that I remember as a kid that I was still buying. And I had a bunch of these cards, and I went to a boot sale with my friend, and we just shoved them in a box and we just sold them all, and we made quite a good bit amount of money for kids, of that age back then. And I kind of remember being like, saying to him, like, it's all gone now. And I think we would have been about 12, 13. And that would have been around the time when I would have started like fooling around with girls, or like started talking to girls. So the last thing I needed to do was have Pokemon cards hold me back, because it was already hard enough to get a girl's attention at that age. So yeah, then what happened was I didn't even think about Pokemon for years. And I remember even seeing, I think it was a Skyridge set in WH Smith, and seeing the green fluorescent like booster box, and I thought, oh, that looks horrible. Glad I don't collect those anymore. And what are those booster boxes worth now? 70,000, 100,000, something like that. I know it, and I'd say Skyridge is probably my favourite set of all time. And then I was about 24, and I was living with a friend at the time, and I remember thinking, like, I really liked some of the artwork on those Pokemon cards. So I thought, let me just grab some of my favourites. And I looked and I saw that the base set Charizard was worth quite a bit of money. And I was shocked. And I was like, wow, I thought I'd be able to buy a base set Charizard for like 20 quid or something. And it was, hundreds of, if not thousands of pounds graded. I had no idea what graded mean. I thought, why are people grading Pokemon cards? Like, it was all so new to me. I literally just wanted to pick up a few cards that I remember from back in the day. And that was the base set Mewtwo. Mewtwo's my favourite Pokemon. I think it's just a G. So base set Mewtwo, I picked up for like £20-25. Wasn't the best condition, but it was okay. It was good enough. And then a Blastoise, and I got a base set 2 Charizard. But they was all cheap, I got them for like 20-25 quid. And I think I picked up a couple of other cards as well. And I purely bought those just to have as a little nostalgia feeling. And I kept them in a drawer. Sometimes I would take them out. That was it. And then another few years pass, and it was round about 2020, 2021. I think it was around about 2021 actually. And I went to a boot sale, and I saw these little tins, and I was like, it were 2 Pokemon packs in, and I thought, you know what, I didn't buy anything in the boot sale, so I was itching to buy something, so I bought that, and it had 2 X and Y packs in it, and obviously X and Y is a reprint of base set with all the artworks, and I pulled the shiny Charizard out of that tin. And I remember just looking at it and being like, oh man, this just takes me back. Like, I'm 27, and the last time I would have opened a pack that would have given me the same feeling and that remembrance of seeing that artwork, I would have been like 10. So we're talking like 17 years ago. And it just, I just had this epiphany moment where I thought, oh, okay, well, let me see what that's worth. And lo and behold, this pack that I'd bought for like a £5, the Charizard was worth like 30 quid. And I thought, oh, okay. And I thought to myself, so there is a chance to buy a Pokemon pack in this day and age and sell it for profit. And then that was it. The moment I realised that was when this whole journey that I've been on for the past 3-4 years now just exploded. And, that was arguably around about the time when like the Logan Paul thing was happening, and Pokemon was like really getting into the craze, and that's when I started like investing into it and stuff like that. So I'd say now I'm a Pokemon investor. I'm not a collector like I used to be. I'm in this game now to invest in a set and hope that it increases in value later on in life. But there is still that part of me that does enjoy collecting the cards, because if something came up in 5-10 years and I needed to sell my collection and get as much money as I could, there's a couple of cards I would really not want to sell because I love the cards. So it's not all about it's not all about just making money off them. There is that still part of me, and I think you need that. I think you need that to still be finding enjoyment in the cards and like have that nostalgia feeling. So why do people pay these astronomical prices for the cards? I'd say 80% of it is purely just people trying to make money. I don't really believe that many people are like really, really admiring the artwork and are in it for that kind of side of things. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, it's just interesting to me that you can't really explain this to someone that didn't go through, collecting Pokemon cards as a kid or didn't play the games and all of that. I think there is still quite a big portion of people that just collect the cards because they like the cards, or it brings them back memories. Like there'll be certain Pokemon that, like Zapdos, for instance, is another favourite Pokemon of mine, and that's because I did a run through of a couple of the old games with Zapdos, and I really enjoyed it. It made the gameplay so much fun for me, and I just felt like such a strong team with Zapdos and whoever else I had, and it kind of takes me back to those games. So yeah, there is some Pokemon, of course, that some artwork that people will want to collect because it's that nostalgia. So it's a combination of nostalgia and investing. And yeah, I'm interested to sort of know why you're in this game, if it's the same sort of situation, and if you've had the same sort of experience of trying to explain to people, why you're collecting Pokemon cards at 30, 40, 50 years old. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you made it this far, I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.